All right, so here we are, one of the projects that we were fortunate to work on. My name is Darwin Fortuna, and I'm one of the principals of Flow Design Architects, and I am here with somebody that doesn't need introduction, but go ahead and introduce
The
yourself.
man, the myth, the legend, Darius Gregory with Gregory Investment Group. Certainly glad to have you here this afternoon. Welcome to Mikasa.
Yeah, I love it. So let's talk a little bit about the journey to get to this project. So I know, and we can go way back. We met when I was at school. I was a student working at one of those civil engineering companies, and we connected. And I don't know if you remember that project in Salem, right?
I do. It's been a long journey, man. I mean, it seems like it was just yesterday, but it was 5-6 years ago. You were still, I believe you were still in school at that point.
I was.
I don't know what institution you were in, but
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. But you were basically doing the floor plans for, I believe it was, fill in the blank. Who was the guy that?
Errol Marini.
Yeah, the crook. Yeah. I hate that guy.
I know. You can't love all of us, right? So, but at that time, I'll tell you the things that I picked up from you, and the team, your team. You guys are so ambitious. You guys have a clear vision for what it is that you're looking for. Even if you don't know exactly how to get there, you have a clear path. So that project, and that was early on. And I think that was matched when I first. I saw you after a little while. We didn't connecting anything, and I picked you up, and I was your Uber driver. Remember?
The irony in that, right?
Yeah. So at that time, I remember I had like business cards, and I was telling you I'm getting
Right.
this flow thing going, and you're like, oh, we'll talk, and we tried several times to connect. The numbers didn't work out. The deals didn't
Right.
work out, and then on this one you called me, and I knew you were 100% working with me because you showed up the next day with a signed contract and a
Money and
deposit.
tow. Oh yeah. That's how you know I'm official and it's ready to get it done. It's
So
checks in hand.
on that end, I immediately was like, wow, this is ambitious. So three houses, actually four houses, right? And we're in one of them right now. And we got grinding, we got going. But you came with a real clear picture for what it is that you wanted. And the team, Yvonne Perez, Julio Gutierrez, all of us working on that. But tell me about your experience, and then we'll talk exactly about what we have right here, right?
Well, we kind of alluded to it earlier, right? So the journey it started off with fix and flips. That was kind of my comfort zone. That's why I felt comfortable. That particular project was a 2-family condo conversion, complete gut. We went in there. I think we had allotted maybe like $400,000 for that renovation. Ended up being 20% higher than that.
Wow.
But at the time, the market was so strong, we were able to still realize a generous return at the end of the day when the 2 condos were conveyed. Fast forward, sitting down at the table, I was residing in Salem, and I said, "Hey, Kels, we could build a house easy for our family like that. Like that's okay, but that's not real ambitious. It's not really what." Putting my kind of stamp on it. So I'm like, why don't we build a house for us, but do it in a community, within a community, name the street after us, and start to build our legacy.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that all of those things that you said that back then.
Yes, 100%. And it was just being fearless, seeing the vision, willing to execute the vision. And when somebody tells you no, you figure out a way that you can get them to tell you yes. And there was a lot of that. I could start with when we first bought this house, we sold a house that we renovated beautifully in Salem, moved here. My wife's hometown is North Attleboro. So it made sense to set up shop. But I saw this opportunity, 10 acres, single family house, built in 94, preliminary approvals to do a 5-unit subdivision, 5-home subdivision. I'm like, this is exactly what we're talking about. This is it right here. Let's do it. So deep negotiations back and forth. We were able to get it as is. And it's all public record, right? So we bought it for $630.
That's right.
The market has appreciated since then. Went through the whole approval process. Took about 2.5 to 3 years, believe it or not, to get through approvals. There was tons of speed bumps. We dealt with the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Division for the state because we have threatened species. We're in their priority habitats, so there were tons of hurdles we had to jump over that. But finally, we got our comprehensive management permit. We were able to start erecting and building, and hence now we're standing in the front, the first build, 10 Gregory Way, and feels great.
Yeah, so wow, that was quick. It just shows how clear
Yeah.
the path has been and the purpose, because you remember every single detail of that. So when you called me, you had already gone through a lot. So it wasn't like or nay, you were like, we're gonna work together. And I remember I picked up the phone and saying, is this going to be a deal? We're gonna get out of here with a deal. That was the way. You know, we're gonna design those houses together, and that's it. You know, this is the last call that I have with you where we
Right.
don't walk out. Although we did something else in Swamp
We
Square
have,
too,
but
yeah.
it wasn't the same scale, right?
No,
It's
yeah.
all small things here and there. You know, it's kind of like, you know, specialty. Like, hey, I need you to serve for construction administration because the building inspector doesn't want to do his job because we're in the midst of COVID. So you were able to fill that
That's
void.
right, that's right.
You know, but again, this was kind of like, it goes back, right? So you know what you know who you know. And when you get comfortable, you don't necessarily want to branch out and take a risk, especially in this industry where it's like, sometimes people can say they're going to deliver and they don't necessarily deliver, right? So I didn't know fully if this was in your scope and if you would be able to hit it out
Yeah.
of the park. And 100% you did. And I knew that spot on after this build. And that's why you have my business today and moving forward.
So, yeah, so but it was a journey for all of us too, because I'll tell you, this is the biggest like endeavor for us for Flow, honestly. I mean, when it comes to build outs, you know, like we've done 18 unit buildings and things like that. We've done 12 unit buildings, but each house has its own world, and there's all these details, right? Oftentimes, those big developments where you have apartments and things like that, it's copy and paste. It's the same thing, pretty much the same layout. This one's each house was to be different in every way possible and have its own charm and touch.
Right.
Every one of them, we didn't just copy and paste the plan.
Correct.
You know, there were foundation footprints that we have to
Correct.
comply with and tweak them to still give this, you know, the life that it has right now, which you guys will see through every aspect. You know, the facade, the touches with the stone, all of those elements. But again, I must say that I wasn't threatened by the approach. Like if somebody comes in to me and says, "Well, I have a $20 million deal for you," you know, it might get me a little nervous, right? Because that's not my comfort zone. But this one didn't get me worried at all, because again, the confidence you bring with you, and you know, Kelsey, both of you, the combination, I was like, this is going to be great. This is going to be a fun process. We're gonna get through all of this. They know the kind of windows they like. They know the ceiling height. I mean, you had, you know, and we have a 4-step process, but you really had every one of those elements from the 4-step process already thought out.
Yeah.
Step 1, existing. Well, the existing is the foundation. Here it is. And here's all the survey plans.
Right.
Then step 2, envision. Here is exactly what we want and how we want it. Every step of the way. And then from there on, it was just delivering the options and figuring out which one was the best. We have multiple ones. And then we probably did like 8 houses. If you think about the iterations of each one of them.
Right, and how they've evolved, and you know, for me, there was one thing, right, one word that I wanted to just instantly speak to folks that walk through it, and it was the drama, right? So the play on textures, colors, contrast. It's kind of like, you know, Charlie, like an artist, like, you know, black and white. Like they're so very different and
Yeah.
they play off each other. So like on the exterior, that's the direction we went. And then we wanted to bring that on the interior as well, but then have some other colors like gold to kind of, you know, off play it. Some folks say it's very bold. Black appliances, 100% bold.
Yeah.
But as long as it's tasteful and you pick the right colors to give you balance and that
Yeah.
contrast, it works every time.
So that part, again, all of that clarity of purpose and playing with it. And I know you have fun even picking the finishes, going to different places
Right.
in Boston and making sure that all of that look good. So, but tell me about the process of building it. I mean, you said all you've done was flips.
Yep.
Rehabs, full guts, things like that. You didn't have to deal with foundations
Right.
and full framing of a whole building, exterior framing.
Yeah.
So how was that? How was that for you?
Yeah, so I guess I wasn't as concise, right? So this wasn't my first new construction project. That would be absolutely like insane to try to jump out and build, you know, a 5-lot subdivision for your first new construction project. So I originally started doing the fix and flips. Then I migrated to new construction. The first house I ever built was 73 Andover Street in Peabody. That had some limitations, conservation, need to get a zoning board variance from the ZBA. So went through all that, got familiar with the boards.
I
and the
remember you did
process.
call me about that project early on, but then, you know, again, I probably
I went to
wasn't
New
even
Hampshire.
ready.
I went to New Hampshire.
I wasn't probably even ready for it. Again, you have to be ready for the opportunity. When
That's
the
right.
opportunity comes, you have to be ready.
That's right.
So that when you went and got some drawings from New Hampshire and things like that. So that was good.
That was the relationship that I cultivated. It was good to work with them. But that's kind of where I got my feet wet. And I'm like, all right, you can fix and flip, but there's tons of unknowns. New construction kind of runs itself, and it's if you can align yourself with an architect that feels comfortable and confident in your execution in the field, then it's a marriage that's well in the
Yeah, because you were fixed to what they already had on their
Right,
plate, right?
right.
It was like a catalog of plans.
Right.
And some people talk to me about, well, the speed of building something that's or either prefab or the drawings are like a catalog.
Right.
I was like, well, you don't have any say. Really, you don't,
Right.
right? In this one, for instance, you had all the freedom of everything.
Yeah.
Not only dress it up and make it the colors you want.
Right.
Every space has its own vision, its own purpose, and is thought out, right? So that's the markup. That's the defining moment. That's the thing that when you walk into this house, you say, wow, this is just cut out different. This is just a different breed. So that's what you get through every single aspect of the space. And that's what you get from working with a great team. I'm not trying to give myself a pat on the shoulder, but Yvonne was super patient, and Julio have been super patient throughout the whole process, and flexible.
Yeah,
And you guys
yeah.
have a way of working, and we kind of flow together. I mean, that's the name, flow, right? So we flow together. You're like, 5 minutes, Zoom call real quick. Yeah, let's jump on. We jump on. We get it done. So you guys were super involved to know what you really wanted and what you didn't want. But the construction part. So going on the details.
Yeah. So it's all about relationships. The relationship I created with Flo is the same thing. And that's one of my strengths, right? So it's understanding people, knowing how to push, knowing how to pull back when you need to, but we're all working for a cause and we're working to a destination. So I align myself with some subs that understand me and they understand I know this construction necessarily, at a high level, right? So this is the vision. This is where we're going. Can you get in budget? Can you run the job when I'm there and when I'm not there? Is it still the same level of execution? If so, you could be a part of the team and let's run with it. So these subs I've been using and they travel with me, right? My painter's coming from Salem. I found other guys locally, but some of these relationships I've cultivated over the last 5 or 6 years. And the end product, ultimately, I just have the vision. I don't swing hammers. Maybe I'll come and pick a coffee cup up or something, make sure and check quality control throughout the project. But they're really driving it, and it's really the subcontract.
So trusting the team that you've cultivated over time. I have noticed, we're a very tight and small community. Believe it, Massachusetts,
Right.
It's everybody knows everybody. So to get to this, I would say this is excellence in residential construction and design right here, right? So to get to that level, it's a craft. You got to work on your craft, and you can't go around life just getting people mad at you
Right.
and
Burning
cultivating,
bridges. Yep.
burning bridges left and right. So to get to this level where you can build this kind of, this is, again, masterpieces. You have to, again, little bit, and trust that team, right, that you have.
Correct.
Same thing with Flo. Like, we've trained everybody. We work hard on getting everybody up to speed, right? Most of them come from nowhere, like
Right.
from out of nothing, right? Most of us are minorities, right? At the end of the day, that barely even speak English sometimes. Like Edwin probably doesn't.
That's why I like you guys.
Gracias. So, but you build that and you cultivate it and you don't burn any bridges, and then you get to that point where you can, now it's like the song of the elephants on
Right.
jumping on the net. So the net, well, let's see how much we can do.
Right.
But that vision, man, you're fearless.
Yeah, 100%.
You're bold. Like
you can't
walk,
have success in this industry if you're scared. It
you
just doesn't.
walk right into this. We're gonna do these houses. I'm sometimes like puzzled, like, how did the financial part worked out? We had a conversation. You like take me to lunch and you'll tell me all the details.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that what it costs to get? I'll get you to lunch
cheap
a
date,
week.
huh?
A week. It's like, hey, honey, I'm on a date with somebody. Darius. Yeah, that's right. But you surrounded yourself with very successful people. Surrounded yourself with a team that you can trust. Had a bold vision, but I'm still shocked that you said, okay, yeah, we can do these flips, we can do these homes. So let's build our own home, have a street named after us, create a community, and you found exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the book The Secret, I think, played out exactly like that.
Just speak it into existence. You know, you want to manifest kind of what you want. Your dreams can really ultimately be a reality. But if you're scared to go achieve them, you know, then it will never happen. Now, again, deals aren't plentiful like they used to be. I think we're going to see a market shift now that these interest rates are rising. You're going to start to see, you know, some property values start to decline, which ultimately will create more opportunity. But to find this when we found it, you know, really wasn't nothing more but a blessing and pure luck, to be honest with you.
Yeah, wow.
So.
Wow, but you were able to find the place, find everything, and you have your in-laws living in the same community.
Community within a community.
So you have like a built-in babysitter system there already.
Yes.
So it's like great. So going on the construction, anything that you would have done differently, anything that you learned through this experience, like anything that, you know, we don't have to go into an hour long, but maybe we divide this into multiple videos. But
right.
But like I just want to know how that process was. So full disclosure, we are the contractors here. Like we are the GC and team that put all of this together, and that takes a lot of trust, and
Yes.
it takes a lot of courage, like you said, like knowing that that person is gonna get you from point A to point B,
Right.
all the way through. And I was involved all in. I'm involved all in, right? All the risks and all that. But this has been a painless project for me. A completely painless project in every aspect. I don't know what I attribute that to. Like great plans. Well, the plans needed to be worked out too, for the lumber, for the pricing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I meant. I guess it's the team, right? Like that's probably what
I
it
mean,
is.
I kind of talked about this, you know, offline. It was just, you know, the house is perfectly imperfect, right?
Yeah.
Everything's man-made. Everything's done with hands, even from the architectural standpoint. So are there some minor tweaks that need to happen in the field? Absolutely. But that's the beauty, right, of a spec build versus building for a customer or a building for a homeowner, right? Because the client's not here. The end buyer, whoever we're going to convey this property to, they don't know what originally we were supposed to do and then how we deviated that in the field and on the plans to the final build.
So they got, this is their perfect product.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They
they
fell in
got
love
it.
with it. This is all they know.
You got exactly what you wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah, got
Exactly,
it.
man.
So there wasn't even deviating from an initial path. It was a fluid, creative process.
Yeah.
Of taking and putting, and that doesn't end. A lot of people think that it ends when you draw it. It
Just
doesn't
the
end.
flow,
It
man.
hasn't ended yet.
Just the flow, like
I
a
like
river
that.
flows, you know, goes where it goes.
I like that. So, but any major things that you never even told me, like that you never called me about, anything that you had to deal with during the construction, during the framing, during the like electrical.
Yeah.
Like,
So you know, there was some things where, for example, you know, I think Yvonne did like beam pockets, for example, like in the foundation, which in theory, you know, works out. But if I'm finishing the basement, then that's going to take away from the head height, right? So consequently, I'm like, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Foundation's already poured, beam pockets are already in. Probably could have captured that if I was a little bit more thorough looking at the foundation
you know,
plans.
I have to stop you there. I have to stop you there. You yourself, you're looking at the mistakes you made, and you're humble about it.
Yeah.
You know, like there I is, like from when I first met you all the way through now, because I saw you, like I saw where you started. But if I had met you now, I'll be like, oh, this guy's just a cocky dude that thinks he's the best. But actually, you're thorough. You know what you know and what you don't know. You seek help where you need it, and you're humble to say, in hindsight, I should have done it this way instead. And like, some people are just right. And people think I am like that. I'm not like that at all, too. Because that's the only way you can become successful, fixing the mistakes. So you notice that those pockets were there, and you probably would have thought of that. Yeah.
Ask me this. When I figured out that there was a problem, what do you think I said? I didn't call Darwin, hey, man, there's a problem here, there's a problem. I said no. And every contractor knows this. I'm not about problems. I'm about solutions.
That's it.
So the first thing I say is, all right, what's the solution? Talk to the framers. So then we just had to raise it up a little bit. You know, when we added, you know, a couple extra sill plates. And that's it. Done. Easy.
That's
it.
So that's perfect. So I guess, you know, this can go on forever, but you know, we do have a limited time and limited budget for everything, right? So but we could probably talk more particularly about the spaces now that we're here, right? So we've enjoyed all of this, we've seen all of this, and let's
walk you through.
Yeah, let's walk through it.